My name is Dick Cox. I'm 85 years old. I served in the Somerset Light Infantry.
My name is Ernest Henry Partridge. My age is 83. I was in the Gloucestershire Regiment. Going to war was up and down, you know, we didn't know what to expect. Until we landed on D-Day and we got used to the noise and all our comrades, all our friends, all our age, we was, you know, looking after each other then, that's.
D-Day has come. Early this morning, the Allies began the assault on the northwestern face of Hitler's European fortress. Under the command of General Eisenhower, Allied naval forces, supported by strong air forces, began landing Allied armies this morning on the northern coast of France.
The weather was very, very rough when we crossed. We crossed on an American landing craft. And all my men came from Bath in Somerset. And before the war, nobody had swimming pools. So unless you lived by the sea, you probably didn't know how to swim.
Jumping off the boat into the sea up to here, loaded up with about 56 pounds of kit, ammunition, bombs, machine gun magazines in their pouches.
It was extremely rough, the crossing. We were on the boat for several hours and all my men were very seasick. And if they'd had to fight when they landed, they would have all dropped dead in the sea long before any bullet had hit them. Although I was no sailor, I was with the medical officer and the American crew eating pork chops in the galley.
Food you were lucky to get something once a day. We used to carry dry packs, rations, and that used to have to last you 24 hours. And that would be some hard biscuits, very hard, a bit that thick, a bit of cheese, toilet paper, and a couple of sweets to some. Christmas Day 1944, we're at the front line on this big island. I think we used to call it the island, just go over the bridge from Nijmegen. We never had a bite to eat Christmas Day, never had a thing, just a puff of snow, you know, down the bottom of the trench. Because Jerry was very active them days, the Germans. They were very on edge and they were very active. So we had nothing to eat other than what we had, and dry biscuit.
The actual fighting part was extremely unpleasant, but previous to that, although we worked very hard, we marched all from one end of Kent to the other, and we climbed up and down the hills, and we did all sorts of exercises. In between whiles, one had a very good social life, and one had enjoyed what food you could get and an occasional drink.
My old mum, bless her, she used to send us, she'd make me a homemade cake, and she'd put in there probably some sweets, probably a packet of cigarettes, things like that, you know. Couldn't afford to do it, but she used to do it. And I thought the world of her for that, you know.
I was stationed in Dover, just outside Dover, above the castle, and we used to go down into Dover on Saturday evening. And it wasn't nice because the Germans had a great big gun which could just about get its shell the whole way across the channel, and they used the weekends when they knew all the troops were down in the town, then they used to very often send over the odd shell which spoiled one's evening.
This first man here, Mr. Cannon, my father used to work with his brother at Sunnydale on the golf course. He was from a family of 3 children. His father worked in Sunnydale, his mother worked in Sunnydale, and he lived right on the adjacent to Sunnydale station. This other gentleman here, Mr. Ruby, he lived near me, adjacent to me in Sunningdale, and his father was a gardener. He was in the Somerset Line Infantry, and he served in Germany.
People often ask you, were you frightened? And I'm sure I must have been frightened, but I had my platoon, that's sort of about 28 men under me who I had to look after, and there was so much going on all the time that really you didn't have time to be frightened. You just had to get on with it.
The worst thing in the war,
Yeah.
when I got wounded up my sleeve, I had a bayonet through my leg.
My division was part of the attacking force on Hill 112, and we started off at 5 o'clock in the morning with an enormous barrage of guns firing in front of us, and then we came along behind the guns, and we started off all right, but then the Germans, they had snipers up in the trees, and they were down in their holes, and a lot of them avoided the shells, and we were very badly dealt with.
And then as you moved forward, you went to different trenches. You had to be quick in case the shells were coming over. We had to dig down. You were in sections of a corporal, a lance corporal, and 8 men if you're lucky, sometimes you'd end the foreman. I used to like digging, so I used to say to my friend, you look after the machine gun, I want to do the digging. And that's 5 foot deep and 2 foot wide. And that's your home. But if you're in a field where it's all loose, where they grind potatoes now, you can always put some soil in front of you and some of the old potato arms, and the Germans wouldn't recognise where you were.
I suppose there's about 800 men in the battalion, and 1 in 3 in my battalion were either killed or wounded. And I was wounded actually on a patrol just in the afternoon in front of Hill 112, but we did in fact capture 112 in the end, and of course go on and capture Normandy.
This monument is in recognition of the chaps that lost their life crashing at Windlesham in a bomber, 1945. And their names are a pilot, Toby Bunker, Greg Taylor, Samuel Salsa, Ronald Baggleby, electrician G. King. Crew of the bomber.
I can remember just before we boarded a ship to go across the channel, we were asked if we would like to attend a service, and I think we all did, and I must say I did pray to God that I might survive then, and luckily I did.